So if everybody could please stand for the pledge, we'll start our meeting that way. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
I don't know, do you guys have anything you want to say at the outset, or just?
Nope.
Okay. So we do have our usual rules for the meetings. Just honor and respect anybody who's speaking and each other. If you have your cell phones on, try to turn them on silent so that they don't interrupt the meeting. We're doing questions and comments from lot owners at the end of the meeting. Try to limit it to 3 minutes. We're not going to put you on a timer, but we've got all that set up for the end of the meeting. We did have one written submission, which if you saw the emails that went out about submitting a written question, we could definitely get to that today. One of the things that we're going to try to do is we may not answer your question right now. We want to give you accurate answers. So if you ask a question, we'll probably just take it in writing and then put that in the next newsletter and put that out in an email. If voting is taking place, which we're going to do that today for a new trustee, the tabulation of the votes will take place here at the meeting. So we'll go ahead and get started with everything. Our meet the staff. First of all, the trustees, you guys want to just say who you are?
Yep, so I'm Chris Pratt, the oldest and newest trustee, I guess, of Homecoming. I served in like 18, 19, and 20. Lived in the village for over 10 years now, and happy to be back and able to help.
John Haynes, I'm the outgoing trustee, been on the board of trustees for about 4.5 years, and passing the torch on to someone new moving forward.
Is there also a fellow hearing besides me?
Turn the microphone on.
Yep, here.
Speak up, please.
John Haynes, and I've been a trustee for about 4.5 years, and I'm passing the torch on to the new trustee that will be elected today.
Sean Stryhall, this is my second year on the board. We've lived in the village about 5 years now, and that's about it, other than what's up there. And we'll put the slideshow on the website too when we're done today, so you'll have that as well. The next item on the agenda is let's talk about our office staff. Lisa can't be here today, but we have Lisa Simon is our bookkeeper. Dina and Amy are the office staff, and our maintenance crew, the head of the maintenance crew is Mike Burnich. I think Dina still is very sick, so she couldn't be here today. Let's see. We need a motion to approve the minutes from our last annual meeting that are on the website, if we have a motion from the floor. All right, anybody second that? Thank you. All right, motion is carried and seconded, and let's just raise your hand if you approve the minutes. Okay, that looks like a majority out there. Thank you. Okay, as I said, this is going to be up on the website, so I'm not going to go through everything word by word. Just some basic facts about Incline. Something that a lot of people are always asking is how many homes do we have? Right now we have 595. We have a lot under construction still. The big deals for here right now is eligible lot owners to vote is 635, and for a quorum that would be 318. So without having, and that would include proxies. So we're going to do a trustee election today, but since we don't have a full quorum, according to the indenture, that falls on the existing trustees to go ahead and appoint someone. As our past practice has been, we use the vote as a guide, as guidance for that decision. Okay, next up, John, do you want to do main dam and lake updates?
Sure. So late last year we did a underwater survey of the lake to see how well the performance of the dam is working on Stringtown, and it is not doing very well. So for the next couple of months after that, we talked about some ideas on how to move forward with that. And we have been recently in contact with a different engineer that's going to start a new, basically plan on what could be a more effective solution to keeping the silt out of the main lake. The numbers we got back basically told us that we had about 30% of the silt came back into the lake compared to the last day of dredging when we had the survey done when it was over with. So basically, in 3 years, we got 30% back in the lake, so we're looking at about 10% per year. So effectively, if you did the math, if it's the same every 3-year cycle, we would be looking at a dredge in 9 to 10 years, so we're trying to avoid that. So we will have some more answers for you in the next coming months once we get the results back from that engineer.
Okay. Next up, we've got Chris with our mission and vision.
Yes, so something a little different for the village is we never had kind of a mission and a vision of, what we're trying to accomplish, and it's one of the first things we talked about when I rejoined the board. So, we came out with our mission, which is to preserve and steward Incline Village with integrity and care, maintaining its natural beauty and recreational amenities, upholding our indenture as our law, and serving every resident with transparency, responsibility, and sustainability. And then as far as our vision, and this is really what we spent a lot of time since I rejoined the board talking about is, what are we going forward? And a part of it is a future where Incline Village leads in sustainable, efficient amenities where residents feel both connected and free, but where the quality of life, beauty, and fellowship in our community are unmatched. And I think that speaks to who we all are as a community, and I certainly feel like as we go down this agenda, just look at the amount of committees there are that are all volunteers, of how much work we all do together as volunteers to serve our community. Okay, Sean, you're next.
All right, some of you know this already. About a month and a half ago, we ended a search for new legal counsel for the village. We've actually been looking and discussing this for quite a while. We were looking for some company, a firm that had a focus on real estate and HOA law. And I want to throw something out there for a couple of people, especially Pat. We are technically not an HOA. I'm not going to get into the full definition of that, but Incline Village is technically not an HOA, but we use that term as a catch-all to explain things. So it makes it easier that way. But we have gone with a legal firm of Martin, Leahy, and Stuckmeyer, and our representative is Stuckmeyer in that firm. And like I said, that's basically concluding more than a year-long search. Next up, we have an indenture amendment update. Pat? Do you want to turn that microphone on?
Can you hear me? Okay. If you don't mind, I'd just like to do this without the microphone. Anyway, as you all know, we had a crazy summer trying to get folks to sign an amendment to allow us to add a few pieces or a few more ways to vote. And that was electronic voting and first-class mail. Since 2017, which is the last time that the folks here voted for a trustee, it's been since 2017. Since then, we have not been able to get a quorum of people to come to vote for the trustees. The trustees are put in a position of having to select someone. So in discussing about an additional amendment to our indenture to allow those two voting methods, what we wanted to do is to make it easier for folks. Now, in our view, easier meant maybe electronic voting, which is done with a lot of financial associations. Or maybe it is first-class mail, in addition to being here in person or a proxy. So that was our thought, that was what we wanted to accomplish, was more participation for all of the owners to be able to have a say in who the trustees are going to be. We looked at that. We had, as far as I'm concerned, I think it was a success. We had 53% of the people participate. Granted, we needed 75%, but for the first time out, I think 53% is something that was good. Whether this is done again or not next year is going to depend upon a lot of things. Number one, the budget, There is a cost to doing it. It was about $3,800. That included, you know, the mailings, the banners, if you saw the banners, the signs that were put up everywhere. So it was a fun thing in some ways, and in other ways it was very frustrating because we thought we were communicating as well as we could by various methods. But we're not sure if we did or not, given that we only had 53%. So a little bit later, if it's okay with you, Sean, I'd really like to get your input on if you were aware of it, what it meant, if you were for or against, doesn't make any difference, but what could we do better if we want to go down that road? So we also came up, which I thought, I hope they think is good, is, you know, when you do a project like this, it's not only a matter of doing the research and looking at everything, but then what was the conclusion and what are the recommendations? We had 5 recommendations to the trustees as a result of this amendment vote. One of which was trying to get a better way for them to be able to select trustees, because right now you can't vote to put a trustee in. So getting better direction, I guess, on qualifications and specifications. I'd like to recognize the folks that spend a heck of a lot of time on this. We started in January of 2024. January of 2025, we really kicked it up a notch. So Karen Tosi, Pam Malone, Tammy is where? Oh, Tammy's over there. Tammy, her husband Rick, and Lisa Simon, who is really more than the Incline Village bookkeeper. I think you would agree with that. Woman's been here 15 years, has a lot of knowledge. You have been interacting with her. That's a good thing because she just keeps track of the books. But that's a little bit of a nutshell. Is that okay?
Yep.
Is that all right? Any questions? Seriously? Were you all aware that this was going on with the amendment? Okay. I think the key for us is if you didn't return it, and or if you voted no, which is fine, what was it that caused you not to return it or to vote no, so that we can hopefully address those things if we do again? Okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that. Our next up on the agenda is a financial summary, if the computer wants to stay on. None of this should be news to anybody, but for the last several years, we have been discussing deficit concerns in the village. On the finance committee and among the trustees, we've talked about the need to do a cost of living increase on our assessments. That discussion will be starting. You know, we want to get more in the village involved with that, but in 2026 and 27, and also on the roads. I'll throw this out there and then the other trustees can chime in. We did, as a trustee group, we accepted all of the recommendations of the finance committee with the exception of the roads budget. They were asking for $286,000 to complete all the roads in the village, and we decided to bring that down to $100,000, which is roughly what we've been spending, a little less than what we've been spending the last several years. But our thinking, and Chris and John can jump in, was we wanted to maintain a cushion. And if you remember at the start of this year, we had an issue where we needed to move a little over $120,000 from the Phase 1 budget to the Phase 2 budget. It's those kinds of things that we were looking at and had a concern about. And honestly, trying to stretch this out as far as we can. John and Chris, I don't know if you want to chime in.
Yeah, I will. So the first point in there about deficit concerns is from Phase 1, you know, we run a deficit. We don't generate enough income from assessments to pay for what we have that goes out for Phase 1. And that deficit is, I mean, it's around $100,000 a year, right? So the big part of our concern is if we go and spend the best part of $300,000 right now on roads, then that's 2 years less deficit we potentially have. And for those who are newer, like eventually what happens is, and has happened in the past, is when they run out of money, the only way to do anything is we all end up back in court, right? So it's trying to avoid going through this type of process and being fiscally conservative with what is all of our money, right? And not getting us in a situation where we end up in a situation where we don't have the money anymore and we have to go back to court and have this whole headache. So you know, we take very seriously their recommendations and what they give us, and they do so much good work, but at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable, and as a board, we didn't feel comfortable spending that amount of money with no real plan in sight at this moment of being able to reverse that deficit as we sit here today. I hope that makes sense.
I have a question.
We need to hold until the end.
Please, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if you do have any questions, please go ahead and write them down, and you can ask them at the end. One thing I did want to item B up there, the COLA discussion. There was a court decision that allowed the village to, if it's long and convoluted, but to do a cost of living increase, and it would be, if I remember correctly, no more than 5% of the assessment, something in that neighborhood. But this is one of the reasons why we don't want to. We want to get questions in writing so that we can respond to them in writing. I don't have a good answer right now on all that court case says. The next thing that we have up there is the fee schedule. We have decided not to increase the fees for boats on the lake or any of the amenities that you would normally be charged for. Those are all going to stay the same. Fiscal year assessments are going to stay exactly the way they are right now. Please keep in mind, and there was an email that went out about this, the 546 invoice is going to go out in just, what does that say, 10/22/25. Phase 2 assessment is also staying the same, and I won't read all that to you. It's kind of small to look at, but we have done a lot in the village over the last year. And we've said this before, but many thanks to our volunteer committees, our volunteers, for helping guide a lot of the work that we've had done. Okay, one of the things that we want to encourage people to do is attend meetings and learn about what's going on. We're trying to push more information out through HOA Start, through our, which is our website and email. So please watch and pay attention to those. Just some slides showing some of the improvements we've had. And now committee updates. So we'll start with the construction committee.
Just a couple things I want to touch on with the construction committee is that, as most of you know, most of the easy to build on lots are gone. So the contractors that we have currently working are going to be doing some tough builds. There's not going to be a lot of room where they're working. Some of them is going to be on dead end or cul-de-sac streets. So it's going to be tough to navigate that with construction vehicles, traffic, and the mess. Most of the guys that have been building in the neighborhood have been really good about trying to keep up, but we've had to step in a couple times to remind them of keeping things, the roads clear and the parking for people to get in and out, and more importantly for the emergency vehicles to get through. That's always the top priority with any of that stuff. I really don't have anything else. Sean, you got anything with the construction?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, we're good. Next up, finance. Ed, is that here? Okay. Anybody on the finance committee want to jump in? The documents are all on the website online, and I would say if you have questions, please email them in to us so that we can get those answered. Or
Yeah, I wasn't planning on speaking, I didn't know I was going to be said. But being on the finance committee, we truly appreciate the job that our trustees do. There's just a basic difference in opinion on how to handle. That's why the last 2 years, previous 2 years, we've actually submitted a budget that would have covered to finish on roads in our area, so we could transition into a maintenance program instead of a capital improvement program. So in other words, getting to an annual budget of maintaining our roads, which I think if you did a dollar value, are probably one of us, not the largest dollar value asset we have as an area. So our goal was to get them completed, updated, because some of them never been paid since the first time they were paid, is my understanding. So that was our philosophy for the last two budgets. Money was not spent last year, and the budget that we suggested for the roads, the trustees used their authority and their right, and we respect that and appreciate that, and I understand that. I just never was one to push a problem down the road because the roads are going to become a problem. But the other problem that we know is coming down the road, because we are in a deficit, is going to have to be fixed at some point. So, so you got two problems, competing problems that are going right here. But as a finance team and committee, we've been doing everything we can do to maintain the assets, set a budget up that would maintain and help improve the assets of our area in order for all of us to maintain our property values and not start going south on that. So that's the big difference. There is no animosity or hard feelings to speak of. There were some fun conversations, but we all walked out and had a cup of coffee. Most of us didn't mix anything in with it afterwards. So anyway, that's as far as the committee. Our budget has been submitted. It was accepted with the one exception of the roads. So that's the budget that we'll be going forward with this year. And we do have a 500 target. You can't run a deficit forever. You will run out of money at some point, and totally understand that. But that's basically, other than that, everything's going pretty well. And if anybody wants to volunteer to be on that committee, feel free to come sit in. We've had a couple of visitors sit in, so feel free to come.
Perfect. Thank you.
Chris, 4th of July.
Oh, me. Okay. Went to Pyromania last night, did some homework. I don't know if any of you guys probably heard it over here if you didn't go. Last year we had a ton of changes that created a bunch of problems for us with state of Missouri, and then how vendors operate and things like that. Tariff preparation by folks that we purchase from. So we kind of worked out all those kinks last year. So really kind of expect us to be rocking and rolling for this year. So, our fundraising efforts will continue to be ongoing throughout the year. There's still a pretty big incentive for us to purchase at like December, January, like financially. So, we will continue to do that. We now have the ability to be able to warehouse a little better some of our inventory over that time. So we'll be able to do so. Just knowing some folks who were involved in, Pyromania last night, Sky Wars next week, it's, they're $2,000 a minute for their show, right? Like that's their general rule for what they're paying right now. So you think, last night was, 2 hours, right? You're talking this $250,000 they spent. Our firework budget is like 10 grand, right? And we're able to stretch so much of that. We spend a little more than that between equipment or whatever, but on the explosive part, that's what we do. But it truly is like how far can we stretch that dollar every year to do it, which is great. Like we love doing that. Like it's not a complaint. The fundraising response we get is fantastic, but looking forward to a great show next year. Like I said, watching Pyromania, it's homework for me. I talked with a few of the guys there. We learn something every time we do, but just really excited to make that whole day a full festival as well. So one thing I will say is some feedback we had the DJ this year that did a great job kind of emceeing it. The only bad part is if you're up on the hill here, you can't hear. So we took that feedback. I went and purchased an FM transmitter that I think will reach far enough from the top of the pavilion to where we can publish a radio frequency, and you can tune in with your radio and listen to the DJ who's hearing from us of, okay, we're ready, everything like that, and what's going on. And also he did a great job and kept the whole kind of event going. So we take that feedback every year. The last thing I'd say, much like probably everyone on this committee, is we're always taking new folks to come and join us. There's a lot that goes in between even just, the unloading of everything. Like there's a lot of stuff that's we would say skilled specifically in that world, and there's some that isn't. Super proud. We had more trucks than ever show up to move us over in the morning. We almost made it in one load, which it used to be like 4. So, we're almost to a point where it's one and done, which is great. But yeah, other than that, super excited for next year. Thank you.
Sherry with Kids Club.
I'm Sherry Stryhall. I'm the better half of the Stryhalls. And I have Kids Club, and so Kids Club is not going to do any other fundraisers or anything because we have Parks Committee, because we have all the other committees. We kind of work together with some of those, but we as a committee have decided that we're going to stick to the holidays. So we do sponsor the 4th of July golf cart parade. We do cookies with Santa. We do trunk or treat. We do the Easter egg hunt. And I think that's all the holidays we cover. But we're not going to do any of the fundraising kind of stuff because those things don't really need a lot of fundraising. They just need people to donate. And so we don't have enough committee members to really get the club doing the big things that we were doing like last summer and the summer before. We just don't have the committee members to work it. So we are just going to do that. So for Trunk or Treat, that's coming up October 25th. And we would love to see more trunks. That last year we had a huge turnout of kids, not a huge turnout of trunks. So it was kind of like they walked around this little parking lot here and that was all we had as far as trunks, and we would really love more people to come out. We're going to use the parking lot down by the beach this year, and so we're also going to do a little bonfire so kids can make s'mores and hopefully have a little bit more down there. We're talking to Fireworks Committee if they want to bring food and sell food and kind of do fundraising for them. So hopefully it's much more of a bigger community event. People have asked me why we do both trunk or treat and we trick or treat in the neighborhood. I know a lot of families don't like to trick or treat in our neighborhood. We don't have sidewalks and we don't have lights. And so there are many families who don't feel comfortable trick-or-treating here, so they take their kids somewhere else. This is just another opportunity for those families to get a chance to do that. So, and just another opportunity for our community to come together and hang out. So who doesn't love that? But that's it for Kids Club. We'll do Cookies with Santa again, and that's it for us for the year of 2025. And then 26, we'll do Easter and all of that.
Thank you.
Probably 6:30, 6:37. I'll get a flyer out and everything going. So. But if you're going to speak, please pick up this microphone and speak into it.
Do we have anybody from Lake Committee who wants to speak? Okay, then Pam, you're up for golf and parks.
Okay, we had our golf tournament yesterday, and I just want to say that it was an amazing day. Even it rained a little bit, and it didn't seem to deter it more. I can get my voice louder, but I don't want to boom
Pam,
through the room.
That microphone, if you turn it on, you can.
Okay, so we had the golf tournament yesterday, and it was an amazing day. It rained some, we had some warm weather, but we had 124 golfers. This is the first year in a while that we haven't sold out. But talking to other facilities and some other organizations that I'm involved in, this is kind of a tough year for fundraising for everybody. And so we are very proud of what we did. Because it was yesterday, I don't have final numbers, but we are working toward raising additional money for the community center. Is the next place that we're going to start. So we'll get the numbers and get them out to Sean for the newsletter. But I want to take a minute and recognize all of the committee that's here. It's not the entire committee. So Tammy, Karen, Pat, Chris, Diane, if you guys could just stand up for a second. And if I missed anybody, thank you. We meet every 2 weeks all year long. So not only do we work on the golf tournament, and our other fundraisers, we do really boring things like research mulch, which took hours. And then we also look at what the needs are in the community. We've got a wish list that could take our community out 10 years. but we don't have enough money when we do it fundraising. So right now, with the golf tournament and the other fundraisers we do, we raise about half of a playground. A lot of people don't realize it's not just buying a swing set. And Chris and Diane are new to the neighborhood. I'm going to pick on them, but they jumped right in. They haven't lived here 5 months, and got involved very quickly and helped us with the Walnut area playground. So you may not realize, but we have to put 12 inches of playground mulch in a new facility if we have a fall height. So the committee's dedicated to doing everything according to schoolyard safety standards, including we look at when we're buying something, is the paint okay for schoolyards? And if it's not, because there's sometimes we could buy cheaper, we don't. So we're looking for long term. So I want to thank not only the committee, I want to thank the people that came out and golfed, our tremendous amount of volunteers that came out yesterday, and our sponsors, of which some are in this room. So I'm going to ask the sponsors that are here to stand. John and Sue, Andrew, and Chris, and who else is here? Yeah, so we really helped out a lot. The Parks Committee relies heavily on sponsors for a lot of our events, and we not only get in-village sponsors, but we go outside of the village. So I'm going to ask you, when you go into a place, and Karen just put the list out today again, but if you do business with one of our sponsors, could you just thank them and tell them you're from Incline Village? I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and then they'll tell us when we go to get their money again that people recognize them. The next thing is Walnut Park. We have accomplished infrastructure there. The trustees, out of the village money, paid for the drainage work on Walnut, which was keeping us from developing the park, and it turned out great. I think all the drainage is working good. I'm looking this way because I know we have a couple of the Walnut residents. So far, the work they did with the drainage has come out good. And then at the park, we put in a heavy-duty swing set with hundreds of, I don't even know, maybe 1,000 pounds of concrete. So we'll guarantee that should be there for about 50 years. And then we did if you haven't been there, we did our first time ever of playground border, which we're going to be working on the playgrounds for that is a rubber type material, plastic, and it just is a better thing for fall. So you can use wood, but we already know from Magnolia that the wood twists and bend, and it's a lot of maintenance. And so I said the future is a community center. Depending upon what we have, our goal for the community center is to install an additional area with a swing set. And that swing set based on, the committee's already voted on this, but that swing set will have a special needs or ADA swing with it, because we've been getting information on that's a need that we have in our community. And then after we get that area done, in 2 to 4 years, depending again on how we raise money, then we'll be putting in a new play set where the wood structure is. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. I don't think Tim is here for the roads, and we've gone through those. When we are ready to start doing work on the roads, we'll send out reminders to everybody about which streets are going to be done. Pat, do you have anything for rules and regulations? Okay, so we're rocking through this. Amy, Social Committee?
Hi, I'm Amy McCutcheon. I'd like all of the Social Committee members to please stand.
I think I'm on too many.
These guys work year-round to make fun for you guys. So every single dollar that we raise goes to the bands on the beach. So we have a budget of $5,000 per summer, which takes care of bands from May through September, one a month, and then there's no charge. And our whole mission is to make the village be a community where neighbors know their neighbors, and become friends. So when you go down to the band on the beach, you're talking and you're meeting your neighbors. And this is not a Batman cave community where as soon as you get home and you pull in your garage, the garage door shuts and you don't even know your neighbors. And this is what our community is all about. We have one last big event for the year, and we need as many volunteers as we can get to pull this off. It's the Fall Festival. It's October 4th from 11 to 3 p.m. Anybody that can volunteer, we're looking for even short shifts. If you can only give a half hour or an hour of your time, we need your help. We've got a car show that day. So any of your neighbors that have a cool car tucked away in that garage, tell them to bring it out that day. It's a great day to show it off. We've got 2 bounce houses, thanks in total in part to Sue and John with the home team. We could not do that without them. So thank you guys. We will still have the pie auction. For any pie that is donated, so make your best pie, you get a coupon or a voucher for free bingo. So anybody that can bake a pie, I would strongly suggest you do that. And we have a lot of kids games. We are going to have a beer garden this year. It'll be on a donation, just kind of like Margaritaville, but we will have beer and margaritas set up. And we have a band this year. We have Double D playing for our fall festival. So it's going to be a great time. I am going to let you all know that I have been elected for almost 7 years to be president of the social committee, and after the fall festival, I will be partnering, but I am going to be stepping down out of that role. I am going to pass the wand down, and I will still be on the social committee, but I don't want to be in this role any longer. So I want to say thank you to everybody that has supported us and continues to support us. I know that whoever comes into my place will have fresh ideas and a new outlook, and basically our challenge is fundraising, as every committee is striving for the same dollar, and in order to provide the bands on the beach and the events that we have to have the support. So I will still be on the social committee. I will still partner with whoever becomes president and walk with them. But I will be stepping down. So anyway, I just wanted to say thank you guys for everything that you guys have done as far as supporting all of us. Thank you.
All right, the next item is mainly informational. We've been talking about this for a while and keep getting a lot of mixed opinions. And the bottom line is we need a group of people to pull together to decide whether or not we want to ask MacDocs to put in more docs for us. There has not been a whole lot of community input on that one way or another, so I'm putting that out there right now. We'll have it in the newsletter. We've asked the Lakes Committee, and I think they have 1 or 2 people who would volunteer to be on a doc committee if we want to go ahead and add additional docs. So the next item that we have is our Community Service Awards.
Oh, me? All right, thanks. Okay, so look, like I said earlier, look at the agenda. The longest part in there is about the committees and our volunteers. this place certainly would not be the same without everyone who volunteers for everything, anything or everything, potentially, Tammy. We did have a lot of new people join a lot of different committees, which was great. Folks who just joined us, it's awesome. I'm so excited for you guys to be part of the community and jump right in. And I think all of us just appreciate everyone who does that so much. And, I think that, it totally changes who we are as a community. So we started doing these, a couple of years ago, Community Service Awards, and it's probably my favorite part of the annual meeting. And I think that it's hard because every year we kind of discuss it amongst ourselves, the folks in the office too, and committee heads as well. Sometimes we'll kind of go through that. And the hardest part is picking just one or two normally, and we go through the year. So anyway, with that being said, I'll jump right in, and the first one is, actually, I'm gonna go to the other one first. So first one, unfortunately, we talked a little bit about the Finance Committee earlier and our the value that we see in the work they do and everything as a group, and then just talking with the folks, Nedra specifically, who's been on the Finance Committee for a long time, and Sean, who's been able to make some of those meetings. Unfortunately, I haven't been since being back. Talked about really, I don't know if MVP is the right word, but certainly, a huge contributor here, and it's Ed, and I think we said Ed's not here, right? So this is for Ed for his service award for this year, and I'll present it to you. I hope he's feeling better. Here, this too. One more. Great, thank you. All right, and then also this year as well, I said the hardest part is getting it down to, to one or two folks every year. This year, this is someone who's put in a lot of time and effort in many ways for us, and has been just a huge part of the Parks Committee. Someone who we'll talk about a little bit later in this meeting as well, who's actually applied for the trustee role, who is someone that it does so much already and is looking to take on more for us. So, and that's Karen Tosi, and Karen, come up and let us present.
Before we move on, there's one other person that we should recognize for many years of volunteer work in the village and many years still to come, and that's this guy right here, John Haynes. You all should know the trustee position is volunteer, so he does not collect a big salary to be a trustee, but he gets yelled at a lot, and he yells back occasionally. But John has been a tremendous part on the board. We're going to miss him as a trustee, but we've roped him into continuing volunteer work in the village. So thank you, John, for all
You're welcome.
that
Thank
you've
you,
done.
John. Thank
We won't make him say a speech because he hates that.
you. I do feel the rope.
Quick thing, just regarding any indenture violations, or we'll get occasional calls on this, or we'll get people complaining about things. Please keep in mind there are 3 of us, and there are almost 600 of you guys. We've got a process we need you to follow. If there is an issue, you could definitely call one of us if it's an immediate pressing issue, but otherwise, please notify the office so that we can handle it appropriately. There are steps that we have to follow according to the indenture, and it's just important, critical to keep up with that. The next thing, we've been kind of hinting at this, is our vote for a new trustee. We have had one person submit prior to the meeting, and that's Karen Tosi. As our indenture states, we do need to take nominations from the floor. If there is anybody who wants to nominate someone to run, I see everybody out there is smarter than Karen and the three of us. So with that said, we have one candidate, one nominee for the position. You can come up and say a few words, or you can pass and not say anything.
Thank you for the opportunity to serve this board.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. If you have, we will, as a formality, still collect the ballots, but if you're looking around the room, we don't have close to 318 people here, so we don't meet our quorum requirements. Congratulations, Karen. All right, moving on. Our last item up is comments from the community. We did have one submitted question that somehow did not make it up there, so, sorry. We had one question submitted on the website, and it was from one of our Upper Incline Village residents who was upset that they were not able to vote on the indenture amendment, but they still pay assessments. The response to that, and we'll also put this in writing out to everybody, just a reminder, Upper Incline is special, it has a special relationship with the village. There was a lawsuit many years ago between the then builder and the village, and that spelled out the relationship of all of those residents up there with the village. We have no control, we have no say over that, so the answer to the question, I know it's frustrating because I have said this before, it's kind of falls, old history teacher, taxation without representation, but that's the law, that's what the judge decided, and that's where we're at. So we'll open the floor up now if there are any questions. I'd ask you to come up here and grab the smaller microphone. We are doing a program, as Sherry said, that's going to transcribe this, so we'll know what's said and who says it.
My name is Keith Bakeman. I've been a member of this association for the last 6 years. And I have a liability concern for the association, and that is the posted 30-mile-an-hour lake speed limit at the boat dock. It's never been enforced as far as I know. We do not have a method of measuring the speed of boats on the lake to enforce that. If you have more than a 50 horsepower motor on your boat, you're probably exceeding that part of the time. It's a liability because while boats have to be insured in order to be licensed to be on the lake, and that's a good thing. The lake regulations do not mention, to my knowledge, do not mention a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. They simply say that the owners of boats are responsible for safe operation of their boat. If someone were to be injured seriously or killed, the insurance on the boats probably cover part of it. But if we have attorneys that are ambulance chasers, they're looking at ways of increasing their payment to the person injured. And with the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, without enforcing it, we become liable as being not we're not providing proper supervision of the lake, and because of that, we would be liable for not doing that and allowing an accident to happen. Everybody likes to run around on the lake, jet skis, get a circuit to lake in 4 minutes, which is about 60 miles an hour. And I've seen other boats out there that go faster than the jet skis. I do not think we should limit the speed limit of boats by trying to enforce the law. I think we should simply remove the sign. And read that way, the individual is responsible and the association is not negligent from enforcing a limit that's not really needed or usable. I'd like to see that sign come down.
Make a motion.
Thank,
May I do that?
Absolutely. Make a motion.
I move that the association should remove the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign on the boat regulations at the ramp and reduce the liability for that from the association.
okay, the board will take it under consideration, and what I would say too is we'll respond in writing, either in the newsletter or through an email, to any questions on the floor. Chris, you wanted to speak next?
My name is Christopher Keena. I own lot 623, and I live in a very unique situation in that in where I live, there is an eddy at the head of the lake. And this eddy causes silt to circle and develop more land, right, than what it says on my plat, than what it says on my neighbor's plat, than what it says on the lake plat, and then what it says on another neighbor's plat. There's 3 of us affected. I'm supposed to have 95 feet of lake frontage according to my plat, according to my neighbor's plat, and according to the map that's right in here, and according to the lake plat. So I make a motion, because my wife and I are getting ready to sell our home. And we have a problem because we've got 60 feet of additional land. I've lost 55 feet of lake frontage because it has not been addressed in the last 3 lake dredges. It's just been skipped over. So my motion is for the board to immediately rectify this using one of 2 methods. 1, you dredge the area concerning lots 623, 619A, and 620A to the original plotted map signs so that I can sell my property and not have any issues. Or 2, the cheaper route, you replat lots 623, 619A, and 620A to coincide with the land, which is 60 feet. I'm now 60 feet away from the lake. So when I go to sell my home, which is a lake lot, I've got 60 feet of additional land that does not show on my survey, does not show on my neighbor's survey. So that's my motion.
Thank you.
That the board take immediate action.
We'll take it under consideration, and really, according to the indenture, that's all we can do at this point. So we'll have your concern in writing.
Okay, because I'm getting ready to sell my home. And
Okay.
it will cost problems.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Pat?
I just have a concern from what I heard during the meeting regarding the budget and regarding our deficit. And I hope I didn't hear it correctly that a deficit may be okay. I've been here many years, and many years ago, this place did not have any reserves to be able to hang their hat on as far as savings. And Chris, I'm sure you remember that. So if you can clarify that I misheard something, I'd appreciate it, because I don't know if we want to be operating in a deficit. We know we have limited funds coming in, And the cost of living, may I ask, are we within the requirements to raise that? There's a percentage?
We have not pursued that yet. That is something that we're talking and looking
The
at
cost of
pursuing.
living?
Mhm.
So that's not a final answer?
No.
Okay, I didn't
No.
understand it that way. All right, so we may be able to do the cost of living, which will increase income, which I know is not going to be enough. But I didn't hear that correctly, did I, that a deficit?
We're not in favor of a deficit.
No.
but
Okay, all right, thank you.
This is a community event, but I just wanted to remind everyone that the garage sales this next Saturday with an optional Friday night preview. We've been using Incline Village's webpage to do signups as well as calling or texting me, but if anyone wants to join, they can. If not, I hope you all come out and support the people that are having the sale.
Thanks, Pam.
All right, thank you. Any other comments, questions?
I have one more, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here today, looking at this right here.
Chris, could you?
I'm sitting here today, looking at the finances of our subdivision. One of the things that posted up there was that we need $2,000 to cut overhanging trees. Well, we have a maintenance crew. And I know this because I used to be part of it. And we used to go around and cut back the trees from the roadway ourselves. Why do we have to hire an outside entity in order to trim roadways back with trees that could merely be sawed off? It's very simple. I used to do it. That's one thing. That's $2,000 savings. And then here's one more motion I'd like to make. Because we're in such financial difficulties of raising money, we're charged for kayaks to be on the lake. We're charged for boats to be on the lake. We're charged for jet skis to be on the lake. We're charged to have a boat dock. Why do we not charge for golf carts? There are 500 golf carts that run our roads. And if we charge $20, you have to fill out that little card every year online. You have to check that little box if you have a car cop. Why can't we charge $20? That would raise $10,000 a year.
Chris, a couple of years ago, that came up in the rules, about 3 years ago, about the idea of charging folks for golf carts. And it sounds good, but there's many other pieces, layers to it, such as if you pay your $20, we give you a sticker. You need to put your sticker on the golf cart. At one time here, years ago, they used to give stickers for cars, of which people complain about having a sticker on their car. The more we talked about golf carts and the dollar amount, yes, it would raise income, because that's the only way we can get extra money is to raise it. It was decided by the trustees at that time that they did not want to do that. Because if I give you a sticker, you pay your $20, now I have to enforce it. And we even tried to get a group of owners here to be an enforcement group. Now, no, that didn't go for well. No one wants to go out there and go talk to their neighbor like, don't do this. So it was brought up about 3 years ago. That's why they decided not to do it.
Well, I understand. And I understand, I do that, the enforcement.
But it doesn't mean they can't look at it.
Sure, because we need money. We need money in the community, and there are so many golf carts, So anyway, it would raise $10,000.
All right, thank you. As I said before in an email that we had sent out, we'll take the comments and questions. If they came as questions, we'll take those, and we'll try to come up with a response within the next month, and it'll either go out on the next newsletter or in an email. So we do want to thank everybody for showing up. Our next quarterly meeting, we'll put out some announcements about that, but everybody who's here today, grab a neighbor and drag them along to the quarterly meeting. We need more people involved in these meetings so you know what's going on. Thank you very much.